What's up, guys? Welcome back to the infamous project. We are in sunny Virginia, and you can see a familiar car sitting here behind me. That's right, the 1990 GT hatch that I drove from Canada all the way down to Texas last year and did some real nice tasteful mods or personalizations, if you will, for its new owner. And well, here I am doing some remote support on this car. Now, the owner, super happy with it. He absolutely loves the car. He endured a super long winter, and now that the sun is shining and weather is nice, he wants to get a few things sorted out. So there's actually a couple of gremlins that I'm here to fix, and then also a couple new touches. So we're gonna go over those things, and something that I've actually never had to personally battle on a Foxbody before. So this is even new to me. Now, in case you guys are wondering, I just don't fly anywhere to give remote support. Obviously, my time has some value behind it, but also I want to make sure that the customer is ultimately happy with the car, because this is sort of where that thin line between customer supplied parts versus installer versus expectations all comes into play. And with aftermarket these days, it can be a challenge. So let's jump in back on the 90 GT and go over the few little things that we need to get done here, hopefully in one beautiful day's worth of time, so that I can go out and explore the area. Summer is here and the pollen is in the air, as we can see, and I've already started ripping some of the interior apart. Now, if you guys remember, I put in a full LED conversion in this car. So headlights, taillight bulbs, cluster bulbs, climate control, all of those. And in Virginia, out of all things that's part of a state requirement is the high beam indicator, which I can barely see it. Let me see. So with the car off and you pull back on the stock, it turns on. You can see that. Okay. If we put the keys in the ignition, turn the ignition forward, okay, and I pull back on the stock, it does not light up. If I push forward on the stock with the headlights on, it does not light up. So with the ignition on, nothing works. But funny enough is if I put the fog lights on, it barely lights up. The big thing here is the LED headlight bulbs. And this car, being a Canadian car, actually came with daytime running headlights. So in 90, not only did airbags become part of, I guess, the basics, so did DRLs. Now, if you have a US spec car, you still have the harness that goes up kind of underneath your horns and the inner fender well. And the Canadian cars have a module that the harness plugs into up there, which controls your daytime running headlights. Now, contrary to maybe what you would think, your daytime running lights are actually driven through your high beams. So if you think about Ford's engineering and the way that they would have wired the circuits back in the day, it's, okay, the ignition's on, let's send a little bit of voltage through this module and use the high beam side of the bulb to give out just a little bit of light so that it looks like your lights are on and you're safe for driving during the day and people can see you. And then you don't want the high beam indicator to be on because, well, they're technically not your high beams. They're your daytime running lights that are being driven through the high beam. So you don't want it to come on in the dash. So somehow, with all that wiring and going through traditional incandescent bulbs, when you give it its full voltage, meaning when the lights are on and you throw on your high beams, then at that point the indicator will come on. So I'm going to do a shortcut. I'm going to take power from the stock, so from the harness that's behind the multifunction switch here, and I'm going to tap it into the cluster feed wire for the 12 volts to turn that light on, so that way it'll work and he doesn't have to worry about his annual state inspections. Now, funny enough, I've tried 3 different sets of LED headlights, and I've got a couple extra sets with me now that I'm going to try just in case, but I know that these bulbs that are in the car, they actually work good. So I'm going to try the Mars Auto ones. If they don't work properly, and some bulbs will make things behave differently, guys. This is just specific to this car. Now, if you have a dummy plug, meaning you don't have the daytime running headlights, and you have the plug that goes into where the module should, your indicator probably works. So for a lot of you guys, you're probably like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, Canadian car, daytime running headlight module, weird additional circuitry and wiring that needs to be accounted for in order for these things to work. So long-winded start there, but that's what we need to battle on that side. The other thing, you can see all this is ripped apart. Well, he wants the 417 Fox kit because he doesn't like his double din being jammed behind the automatic shifter here. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to complain about AOD, but you know what? Sometimes it's fun just to put these cars in drive and cruise. So we'll be moving this guy up to this area, and then the climate controls will be down below down here with the 417 Fox faceplate. Then there's another gremlin that's popped up. So if we hit door lock and unlock here, all is good. But if you actually hit the switch from the passenger side, it works this door. You can see the draw on the light here, and it actually doesn't do anything for the driver's side. And at the same time, the unlock and locking function for the Viper alarm has stopped working. So I'm wondering if it's the harness. Because I actually used the FOXLOX relays and integrated harness to make things seamless and not have to cut in any wires. Wondering if we blew a fuse, or maybe we have a bad switch in the circuit, or something has gone wrong there. So we're going to be checking that out. And then finally, the Virginia roads aren't the greatest. And when he told me, he's like, man, the suspension isn't that great in this car, I can see why those KYBs want to give up the Ghost. So we've got a brand new set of Bilsteins that we're going to be swapping out on the car. So lots to do. Long intro here, but let's get swapping some bulbs and see if we can't get things to work here the way that they should. Here we are in the engine bay, things looking nice and clean. Let's grab our new bulbs. Okay, so ignition's on. Nothing with the high beam indicator. Kind of same behavior. So it'll work as long as the fog light switch is engaged. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but okay. I've got one other set. This is my toolkit, by the way. So checked in all my tools. Batteries had to go and carry on, but all the power tools and stuff that I need is in the check bag there. So I already know the end result of this, guys. I know I'm gonna have to do stuff with the wiring, but I figure might as well try some different bulbs. And again, it's only the daytime running headlight cars because they have the additional circuit. Okay, so pull back on the stock, the light works. Ignition forward, headlights on. Doesn't work. Oh, if you pull back, it works now. Fog lights on. Fog lights on, it doesn't work. So we're gonna plug in what he has. We're gonna pull the cluster out. I'm gonna get to the wiring behind there, get that sorted, and we're gonna tick off the whole high beam indicator thing. That off. So the one set, they wouldn't even work with the fog light on trick, and then the other set behaved the same way that the ones that you have in there do. So whatever, I'll get to the bottom of the wiring there. So your turn signals, the bulb for the right isn't working in the cluster. The bulb itself in the cluster isn't working. But it looks like, and no, so it looks like, but I'll get you to validate it. So I'll just pull this off and I'll plug the plug back in. So I think you might actually be okay. And I think it's, if something, I don't think the bulb's bad. It could just be, it's not seated because it's got that ribbon cable
Oh, yeah.
in the back. So I think just maybe could have been a big Virginia bump in the road that you hit. And funny enough, it happened on my silver, even on my silver notch recently. And you know, I just kind of knocked on the cluster and it came back to life. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to pull the cluster out and get this seated properly. Yeah, so see, there's nothing here because they should both be flashing.
Yeah.
But the reflection in the fan, to me, appears like it's actually working. Well, I was big into them when I was young, right? Like a lot of guys were. And to be honest, man, like there was a point, like don't get me wrong, I was living at home, my costs of living were low and all that stuff. But I'd go to the wrecking yards in Canada and I'd pick black interior. And actually it was before, right before eBay even started, like Yahoo auctions.
Yep, I remember.
And I started selling like through forums and stuff, but then like once eBay kicked off, like people thought I was a drug dealer. Like there's people, everybody wanted black interior and they'd pay, like I remember getting $1,000 for door panels.
What's that?
Right? And like even now it'd be, you would, but it's funny what people spent money on back then versus now. But anyways, did really good at it. But then, you know, went through school, did all that stuff, and then became a huge BMW guy. And the prices of these, like there was a point you could buy these cars for like 3,500, 5,000 bucks, and like they were decent.
Yeah.
Like 10,000 bought you a really nice car, right?
Yeah.
And like there's no money in this, right? And so I did the corporate world and then didn't have a Fox for the longest time. Had already done some stuff kind of online, like I did some live streaming and stuff, but that was ahead of its time as well.
Yep.
And yeah, man, it was like 2016, and I remember there was this notchback on eBay. Someone sent me the link to it. Super clean car, and it sold for like 17 grand, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, are these cars making a comeback? Like that same car now, like to put it in perspective, probably it'd be like selling for 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, maybe I can actually make a business out of this. And then in 2017, I bought my silver notch. That was my first Foxbody to get me back in.
Do you still have the first one? Do you still have the first one that you had, your first?
My first?
Yeah.
No. So yeah, man. And I was like, I think I can give this a go. And, you know, I'll use this as sort of like my stepping stone, my investor visa path or whatever in the US. Like that way I'm investing in a bunch of capital that I know really well. So if I get denied, then I can get out of it. Yeah. Because the US, they want you to see you like you're putting everything at risk.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
and you're being productive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was it, man. And like now I'm sorted now 5 years in and yeah, see, it works now that I moved it. You know what it was? It's like this. It's the bucket.
Is it the pen?
It's like this wasn't making contact. Yeah, so we can't blame Travis.
Star for Travis.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. They're both tickety-boo. All right, guys. So you can see here, I've tapped the green, light green with the black trace, and that's coming off the 4-pin long connector on the back of the multifunction switch. And then I've run that up to the second pin down here on the left side, which I believe actually is pin number 2, and that's the gray with the white trace. And that, so that second pin, gray with the white trace, goes this way to the positive side of the high beam indicator bulb. So just did a test with the test light. Everything was showing 12 volts the way that it should. So with the switch and everything on, of course. So let's plug in the cluster and see if we've solved our problem. One other thing that we solved was the right turn signal indicator bulb here, LED, was not working, and it wasn't the bulb, it was actually the holder or the connector. That's the one that I'm holding with my fingers right now, because I was quick to blame the LED bulb, and I swapped it. It still wouldn't work, and then swapped some stuff around, and I had an extra one of these with me and tried that, and everything started working. So whether a contact's broken inside, because I did try and like spread the little metal connector so it would make good contact against the ribbon, and everything should have worked. I don't know what's wrong with that one, so I'm gonna throw that one in the trash, but I think we are good to put the cluster back in. We put a new lens on the front here, and this actually got PPF'd, so the owner took it upon himself to put a layer of protection on the front here, which I think is actually a great idea. So nice and clean looking, aside from my thumbprint there, but we'll get this installed, and hopefully that will solve our state inspection woes, and we will have a high beam indicator. Everything is working now and looking the part. All our lights are working and looking good. High beam indicator works now, so all that's good. And had to come down here and drop out the relay bank. Looks like we popped a fuse for the relays. I'm not sure why. I'm wondering if it's the draw on that switch over there. So I'm gonna look into that just to make sure, but otherwise everything's working as it should now, with the lock and unlock on the Viper alarm and the hatch release. You can see I had to drop lots of stuff down. The way I had everything tucked up in there all nice like, and sometimes it sucks going to have to hunt for a fuse, but that's the reality of things. And I just liked this approach because it was using the plug and play, right? With the FOXLOX, it gives you the connectors that just go in line with the factory connectors up in the kick panel here, and then I just use the inputs accordingly to trigger the lock and unlock features off the Viper. So I'll get that buttoned up. I'll let you guys know what I find, if anything, because yeah, otherwise everything's actually, I'm curious to know if this side, now that that fuse has been changed, if this changes. Oh, see, it doesn't fire that side, and it really impacts the lighting. I think that that's something's going on with that switch over there and creating the draw, which it's just on that armrest side. So we'll pull that switch apart and see what's going on. This one. Huh. All right, so there's no change. So I'm going to check the wiring terminal up in here, see if there's any. So I have the grounds there. So radio's removed, started running wiring and stuff down for the HVAC controls, and it's going to be a tight squeeze with the wiring. I'm hoping that I can make it happen. We're about to find out. Radio wiring's been moved up. I pulled out the bracket that holds the airbag module, as the airbag module was sitting too far forward. This isn't the most shallow head unit, but at least it's a single DIN on the back side. So like with Chuck's car, I actually trimmed the supplied bracket. You can see how it can actually fit in the hole like so, and we might have to trim here like I did in Chuck's car, but that's not the end of the world. So yeah, we'll probably trim that down a bit in order to get those, and we'll be good to go. I didn't have enough room with the wiring, so I'm actually repinning. He had the harness for this side, the pigtail, so I'm using the wires that was in that harness to redo and extend over here, so that way we can get the proper length so that the head unit can go in here without binding or pinching wires against the dash frame back there. Alright guys, interior's all buttoned back up. Just got to get rid of my mess on the dash shelf up there. But everything seems to be good to go. We'll be doing a final check after for sure, just to make sure all the lights are doing what they need to do, the alarm's doing what it needs to do. But now going to jack the car up and get some fresh Bilsteins swapped in to hopefully help out with the comfort and ride quality of the car, which I'm pretty confident that they will. So I'm going to start with driver's front corner here, get that up, swapped out, and let's see how quickly we can knock this out. Thinking we can should be able to average 15 minutes a corner is what I'm gunning for. So let's see here. It's 3:55. Let's call it 3:56 just for good measure by the time I stop, or by the time I get myself situated here. There we go, 3:56. So the GoPro died, for the record, 4:54, 2 minutes to spare. It said 15 minutes a corner. It's 4:55 on the dot. Now that I'm saying this, 1 hour. All 4 corners, brand new Bilsteins installed. All right, we got a little bit of juice left to summarize our work of the day. So it's 5:30, I got here at 9. We talked for a good little bit of bullshit session, as you do with car guys. And I think we knocked everything off the list. So got some of the electrical gremlins worked out of the car, and the keyless entry issue with the key fob. I mentioned earlier that I used the relay bank from FOXLOX, and for whatever reason, when you use this side, right, it's only operating this door, and it's sort of creating this weird draw. So I reached out to Mr. FOXLOX, said, hey man, do you know if anybody has had issues using the passenger side door lock switch and it not working on the driver's side? And he was kind of scratching, well, I couldn't see him, but I could tell he was scratching his head. He's like, you know what, I can honestly tell you that I've never tried. So I guess his car was ripped apart. He messaged somebody else, and they came back and said that if they used the switch on the passenger side, it would very faintly try and move the actuator on the driver's side, but it actually wouldn't do anything. So I'm going to leave or conclude that the relay bank with FOXLOX, if any of you guys have FOXLOX out there, go out and test and see what your passenger side door lock switch does and see if it actually works on the driver's side, because a whole bunch of us tested the setup, and the reality is, how often are we as Foxbody owners on the passenger side trying to lock or unlock our doors from over here? We're always doing stuff from the driver's side. Or if you actually have your FOXLOX, you're using the remote and you don't care about the switches that are on the armrest. So we're going to do some digging there. In fact, let me check my phone real quick and just see if he got back to me, because I'd be curious on that. He hasn't got back. So going forward, I've advised the owner, you know, don't rely on this switch, you know, just use the key fob like one would, and everything works fine from using the driver switch over there. So that's all good. And we already went through, we got the high beam indicator to work now with the daytime running lights. So that feature is good. We got the right turn indicator issue fixed on the cluster, so that's working. We validated all the LEDs and the lights in the front work as they did when, so we can turn. Okay, there's everything working. Our lights on. Doing the thing. So that's all good. Cluster's all lit up. You can see that halo switch that we put in here. I forget what this is out of, Toyota or something like that. And then what else did we do? We got the 417 Fox radio install kit, got that done, got the wires extended and everything that we needed to do to get the climate controls down and positioned accordingly. So that's nice and clean, and he'll be able to access his radio from there, which is good. And then finally, we got all of the struts and shocks swapped out to some yellow Bilsteins. I have said this time and time again, guys, the KYBs, they just will not keep up with lowered suspension. So they're great if you're on stock ride height, stock springs, but they don't like to ride in a compressed situation. If you compare the Bilsteins versus KYBs, things like the bushings and the hardware is much nicer than what you have here. So yeah, I told them to throw these up for $100. Maybe someone's got some clapped out suspension and needs somewhat of an upgrade. So that's going to do it. Just need to do a little test drive here, see if everything is going to work the way that it should. I'm sure it will. So, all right, we got lock, we got unlock, and then again, if you guys haven't watched the first video, we got hatch release, and then cool feature here. We got remote start on the automatic. So you can leave your AC on or your heat on if it's cold outside. Hop in and go. So I'm actually going to move the car forward so that no one forgets to get these blocks out of the way. We'll go do a road test and everything should be good. So there you have it, my flight slash mini little road trip up to Alexandria, Virginia. The Old Town's a super cool spot. Got to see the Capitol, cruising through DC last night, and some monuments and all that good stuff. So couldn't have asked for a better weekend to do it. Gonna go grab me a nice Corona, chill, get something to eat. And I actually finished everything in like record time here. So what I'll do is probably see if I can catch an earlier flight home tomorrow, get back to Texas and get working on the 93 Cobra builds. Thanks for checking out the video, guys, especially if you made it all the way to the end, and we'll catch you back here next time on the Infamous Project.